Egypt. Doctors are being arrested. Critics are being silenced over the pandemic outbreak. Earlier this year, Egyptian security forces had cordoned off roads during curfew hours as preventative measures due to the pandemic outbreak in Cairo, Egypt. Pandemic infections are surging in the country of 100 million people and threatens to overwhelm the Egyptian hospitals. Egypt has the highest loss of life toll in the Arab world. Yet, even as authorities fight the swelling outbreak, they also have to stifle nearly all criticism about the government's handling of the health crisis. The most recent reports have stated that a doctor was arrested after writing an article about Egypt's fragile health system. It was also mentioned that a pharmacist was picked up from work after posting about the shortage of protective gear online. An editor was also taken from his home after questioning official pandemic figures. And to top it all off, a pregnant doctor was arrested after a colleague used her phone to report a suspected pandemic case. As the Egyptian authorities continue to fight the swelling pandemic outbreak, security agencies have tried to stifle criticism about the handling of the health crisis by the government of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. At least 10 doctors and 6 journalists have been arrested since the pandemic first hit Egypt in February. Other health workers say they have been warned by administrators to keep quiet or face the necessary sanctions. One foreign correspondent has fled the country, fearing arrest. Another 2 have been summoned for reprimand over professional violations. Pandemic infections are surging in the country, and hospitals may become overwhelmed. The health ministry had recorded 76,253 pandemic-related infections, which included 3,343 loss of lives, the highest loss of life toll in the Arab world. A doctor has stated that, "Every day I go to work, I sacrifice myself and my entire family. And they arrest my colleagues to send us a message. I see no light on the horizon." Whilst government refuses to comment on the arrest of doctors and journalists, they sent a document titled "Realities Defeating Evil Falsehoods," which details what it says are el-Sisi's successes in improving the economy and fighting terrorism. El-Sisi has said that the pandemic's trajectory was reassuring and has described critics as enemies of the state. However, health personnel are sounding the alarm on social media. Doctors say shortages have forced them to purchase surgical masks with their meager salaries. Families plead for intensive care beds. Dentists and pharmacists complain of being forced to handle suspected pandemic patients with little training. Suppression of criticism in Egypt is hardly unusual, but the government has become even more jittery as the pandemic tests its capabilities and slows the economy. Although el-Sisi resisted a total lockdown because of the economic impact, schools, mosques, restaurants, malls, and clubs were closed early in the pandemic outbreak, and a nightly curfew was imposed. With borders closed and cruise ships docked, Egypt's critical tourism revenue has disappeared, among other sources of income. The country secured a badly needed $5.2 billion loan from the IMF in June, on top of a previous $2.8 billion arrangement. Last week, fearing further economic fallout, the government reopened much of the society and welcomed hundreds of international tourists back to resorts, even as daily reported loss of lives exceeded 80. Restaurants and cafes are reopening, with some continued restrictions, and masks have been mandated in public. Because of Egypt's constant attention to its image as a place open for tourism, open for business, open for investment, authorities appear particularly sensitive to divergent perspectives during the pandemic. They want to project an image that everything is fine and that they're in control. Those who spread false news online about the pandemic could face up to 5 years imprisonment and steep fines, according to Egypt's top prosecutor. Leave your feedback down below. Let me know what you think about the arrest of Egyptian doctors and pharmacists and the pressure being placed on other medical personnel to remain silent about the current pandemic-related issues in Egypt. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching The Learning Academy.